And we are live, guys. Welcome back to another episode of the ANS podcast here on this Tuesday night. We're back on Tuesday nights, guys, and bring you everything that we can talk about in the last week in terms of UFC news, MMA news, wrestling news, and all that good stuff. This past week, we had Alistair Overeem versus Sakai on a very short card, but a very good card. We had the Dana White Contender Series that just ended a few minutes ago. And AEW had their pay-per-view All Out, which was they went all out basically. It was great. Without further ado, I am joined here as always by the real Jesus. What's up, man?
What's going on, man? Glad to be here on Tuesday on a good schedule now, where we don't have to go over four cards in one show.
Oh, no, it's great.
So now we get to go over some in kind of in depth and some other news and stuff that's come up. There's been some crazy things going on in MMA, so we're excited to get this show kicked off and go into it, man.
Yeah, for sure, man. It's gonna be great. There's a lot of good stuff to talk about. Even from tonight, there's really good stuff. The guys, I don't think the fighters tonight knew that they had to fill a certain amount of time. They said they don't get paid by the hour.
That's right.
Yeah. So as you can see, you can follow Jesus at the real Jesus. That's spelled JeeZus, and you can find me on Twitter at AlecMiller0423. I will also pimp out the Patreon. It's patreon.com/armbars and suplexes over there. Join in at any of the 3 tiers that we got. Help us support this page help us support this podcast so we can bring you even better content. And also check out us on Spotify, guys. The link is down below in the description. Please follow, give those a listen. Whether you listen back or share them to your friends that you think would enjoy this podcast. Because thinking about this podcast, it's got a little bit of everything for everybody. So let's go ahead and move on to our first segment, which is, as always, what are you watching? You started last week. I'll start this week. Didn't watch a movie, but I did watch 2 episodes of an anime called Darling in the Franxx. It was a very odd thing when I first started watching it, and by the end of the episode, I was hooked. It's basically a weird. I still don't know what's going on. There's a weird things going on. Like they fight these giant animal / mechanic monsters. I don't know. In these things that they call Franxx, which are just giant robo suits that you have to. It's kind of similar to Pacific Rim, but they're not as big.
Okay.
They have to have 2 people. You have to kind of meld and be connected at some point. But by the end of the episode, I was
Pacific Rim.
Yeah, by the end of the episode, I was hooked. There's obviously something else going on behind it. Everyone that I've heard on my TikTok says that it's a really good show and that they're enjoying it. So I'm gonna keep watching. I also watched a Viking anime called Vinland Saga. I'd never seen a Viking anime before. It was awesome.
Where are you watching these at, man? So I can check them out.
So Darling in the Franxx is on Hulu. You can watch sub or dub on Hulu. And then the Vinland Saga was on Amazon Prime, and that is only sub. So definitely check those out. Those are really good.
I'll definitely check them out for sure. I love anything with mecha suits, Gundam, Pacific Rim, all that stuff is legit. I'll definitely check that out, man. As for me, man, what I've been watching this week, I actually watched the first 3 episodes of The Boys, which is on Amazon Prime. Picked up right where I left off. I'm not going to give any spoilers, even though you should have watched this already, Alec.
I know.
But yeah, man, it's a really good show, man. It's different, obviously, superhero genre, but way different, done differently based on a comic book that came out a while back. The second season is there's no drop off, and I feel like there's no drop off because it ended in the middle of a story, basically. I don't know why it did that. I don't know if it was because they didn't know if they were going to get a second season or they were sure they were going to get a second season. I don't know, but it ended in the middle of the story. So really good first 3 episodes. They did the first 3 episodes, and they're doing 1 episode every Friday for, I guess, 10 weeks or something like that. Because the first season was 13 episodes, so this one should be 13 as well. Hopefully, I don't know, but it's very good, man. I definitely recommend it. Go and check it out when you have a chance.
All right, man. I will. All right, man. why waste any time? Do we have any UFC news we want to jump into? Any fight announcements that we've had recently? We
Not
did
necessarily.
have.
Go
I
ahead.
was like, we did have Teixeira. And I think Teixeira tested positive for
Mm-hmm.
COVID, so
Yep.
the main event for this upcoming week has been canceled.
Mm-hmm.
Um, oops, sorry, huh? The little one woke up.
It happens. It happens sometimes. Yeah. So this week, the main event was canceled, but we have a new main event, which is, I believe, Michelle Watterson versus Angela Hill. Let me double check that for you. And if that is the next one, then that means, yeah, that Angela Hill, if I'm not mistaken, is the first African American woman to headline a card. So that's awesome, man. She's been on there since the Ultimate Fighter. She's been around for a while. We've seen her in some tough fights. She gets some decisions for her and some against her, but she's always comes to fight. And she's tough as nails, man. So definitely looking for a good fight from her this Saturday.
Wait, I am okay. I'm not muted. Yeah, I'm excited for this main event. I even sent you as soon as it was announced. This is a big fight for Angela Hill. She's been trying to jump up in those rankings recently. You
Mm-hmm.
mentioned that it might be a bad matchup for her, but we'll get into that when we break down when we get into our preview for this week's card. Because
Mm-hmm.
actually a pretty decent card. I just looked it up before we jumped on, and pretty decent card, up and
Yeah,
down.
not bad. Yeah, not bad at all.
Anything else that we need to jump into?
Yeah, so a couple things. Cody Garbrandt tested positive for COVID, so the title fight against Figueroa is off for now. I think they're pushing it back 2 weeks allegedly, but I don't know how you can recover from COVID 2 weeks after the fact. I don't know if he wasn't. They said he wasn't asymptomatic, so he had some symptoms. So I don't know how that's gonna work out. Um, and then the other big news that came down last night or the night before, I don't recall. I don't know if I sent you this tweet or not, but it looks like Nick Diaz is making
Mhm.
a comeback. So that got MMA Twitter in a frenzy.
Yeah,
He posted a picture of him working out. He's in shape. He's going to be at 170 pounds. He's looking for fights. So that's a good thing because one, I mean, the Diaz brothers always bring eyeballs to the sport, good, bad, or
hmm
indifferent. You know, they always sell.
yes,
The bad thing about it, there's a couple of bad things about it that I'll say, and I'll get your opinion on it as well. And the people that watch this and listen to our podcast can comment on it or message us or what have you. But two things were negative about that. One, I mean, I've told you before, man. Nick Diaz slurs and struggles to speak, and you know he's been around a long time and he's taken a lot of beatings. And I mean, he's given out his fair share, but he's also taken his fair share of beatings.
yep,
So from a fan perspective, like yes, you know he's entertaining, but from a person perspective, I'm like, man, I don't know if he should be fighting at that level because they're gonna put him in there
yeah,
with some sharks. You know, he's gonna take some punches. The second
yeah.
thing is we found out that he hasn't fought in 4.5 years, yet somehow he's still under contract to the UFC. So I mean, and then you know another fighter, Nate Corey, who hasn't fought in 10 years, said he's still under contract to the UFC.
Jesus,
So these are very draconian contracts, man. Again, I've told you before, fighters need a union. At the very least, you know, Nate Corey said that he's been lobbying his Congress people and senators to expand the Ali Act to MMA. At the very least, that's what needs to happen because that protects boxers. That should also protect MMA fighters. And right now, it doesn't.
yeah. Should protect any combat sports because I think combat sport athletes need that extra protection, man. It's a dangerous sport, very very dangerous sport.
Mhm.
Um, all right, so you want to jump into this card, man? This is a
Yeah.
pretty decent card. I was shocked because I didn't watch it live. I watched it Sunday. I was shocked whenever I tried to find like the
Prelims?
the prelims, and there were no prelims because it was basically all one card, 7 fights
Yep.
uh, in all,
And the reason for
and
that, can you go into the reason for that?
we had a lot of COVID positive tests coming out, and I told you that I felt like it's starting to increase more and more every week. And there has to be some way to police these fighters when they sign contracts. You have to maybe before signing a contract, having them get tested, because some of these fights are getting signed literally like a week ahead or something, a week
Really?
before, something like that. And there has to be something, because when you schedule these fights and you basically had an entire fight card obliterated to the point where you were supposed to fill out. And it's a good thing this wasn't really on ESPN; it was on ESPN Plus, because you're on ESPN and you lock down a time slot,
Yeah.
and then you gotta shorten it. That's not a good look for the UFC, and it might make some suits nervous. So
Yeah, well, that's the thing to remember. ESPN does have a big say in what the UFC does, since they got them to cancel that first UFC event when COVID lockdown struck back in like April or
yep.
March or April. But what I wanted to say too about that is, man, two of those COVID test positives were after the weigh-in, man. After the weigh-in, and I think even after the weigh-in they do a little face-off. So, like I mentioned to you, man, and again, it's because of the reputation that Dana White has. That I don't think we've heard the end of this fight card, man. I don't think we've heard the end of the ramifications of COVID having to do with these fighters and these cornermen, because they were late, man. This is the first time that they've been like really late on identifying who had COVID and when and where they had COVID. So I hope they have good contact tracing. And they know who has it or who's potentially exposed, and they can what is it called, self-isolate or what have you, because if not, those guys, our coaches, are going to be around other fighters, and that dips into the pool of fighters that are going to be in future fight cards potentially. So it's just a bad look, man. Like I mentioned to you, I hope they do better with it, but unfortunately this isn't going away. Both COVID and the UFC are not going away. Like UFC is going to put on fight cards no matter what. So I'm not gonna discuss the issue of should they be fighting, but they are going to be fighting. But it just needs to be a better job.
Yeah, I agree. Because, like I said, if this keeps happening over and over again, week by week, and then you start hearing a fighter who passed it on to another fighter, pass it on to a crew member, get severely sick or possibly die, it's going to be very, very bad for the UFC. You're going to have to find some way to either bring whatever fighter you want to bring, find some way to make a bubble or something, and put those said fighters that you're going to have fight in that bubble, because in the week coming ahead, because it's not looking good, man. It's not. Yeah. But the show must go on as always. And I think we got a pretty decent card from top to bottom. Exciting fights. Nothing really was boring to me. I don't know if you'll say anything differently. I thought all the fights were really good.
Yeah, I agree.
Very good.
All the 7 fights that we had.
Yeah, but they were good, man. So the first one we have here is bantamweight. We have Cole Smith taking on Dana White Contender Series alum Hunter Azure. And Hunter Azure coming off of, I believe, a loss to Brian Kelleher.
Yes.
But a very good performance, a very good fight between those two. And this one, Hunter Azure looked really good. I think he looked good from top to bottom, whether it was standing or going to the ground. But I think the good thing that we noticed is that even when he was maybe starting to realize he was outmatched on the ground, because he had a pretty like sizable length disadvantage against Cole Smith. But he took it to the ground when he needed to, and was able to put it in, and not just laying on him, but putting in work.
Yeah, doing work. And the thing about that fight too, man, that I liked and enjoyed was that it was close and it wasn't lopsided. Like Cole Smith had opportunities to win, and he had different submission attempts that he was trying to do, and you can see that both of these guys were in danger from the other pretty much at all times. And that's what makes for a good fight,
Absolutely. The back and forth. I mean, if there's no back and forth, it's dominant. It can get pretty boring. But Hunter Azure looks good in this one. Cole Smith looking good too. Just came out on the losing end of this one, and it was a good start to the card for sure.
Agreed.
Nice little.
Agreed.
It was very very action packed. Next up, this one was still good, but it was pretty dominant. Yeah, Viviane Araujo taking on
Mhm.
Montana De La Rosa. Uh, Hold on, I'm making sure. Okay, this is the person I was thinking of. But yeah, Viviane Araujo was very dominant in those first two rounds, man. Like she was just piecing up Montana De La Rosa
Yeah.
any which way she could.
Yeah, and the funny thing about this, I mean, a couple funny things about this is one, I mean, you wouldn't have thought that uh watching the fight, because the announcers, kept hyping up De La Rosa, and I guess because they had, her husband is also a UFC fighter, and he was in her corner. But yeah, man, that first round was tough. Arahu got a lot. One thing they did say, which I mean, you could kind of see it going on in the second and third round, is that De La Rosa is a slow starter, and that she's a gym. She has anxiety or something, and she's a really great gym fighter. That she fights really
Mm-hmm.
well at the gym. And I did see some aspect of that, because she did start coming on strong at the end of the second round and in the third
Yeah,
round. But it
I
was a
think she won
little,
the third round.
yeah, it was a little too late, at
Mm-hmm.
that point.
Yeah, and then there's just the amount of damage that she did. But I will give Montana De La Rosa one thing, man. She's tough as hell. Her face was battered in basically,
Yeah,
but was able to come and win that third round to me.
she
It
didn't
was
give
nice.
up. She kept trying.
Yeah, for sure. And that's something. I mean, that's not really something you can teach, like that heart, that ability to even like she was still coming forward in that third round. Like most people will back off,
Yeah,
But she's tough, dude. And Viviana Araújo gets a really good win. That looks good on her resume because, like you said, it was dominant, but it wasn't pure dominance. It was, she didn't have to win those first two rounds. Was beating up on her, and then just kind of, I don't know, maybe she probably knew that she won the round or won the first two, so she was just kind of taking it easy.
yeah.
Nothing against
She
that at all.
realized she wasn't on Contender Series and kind of coast to the finish line, and
Yeah, that's okay. You can do that when you're fighting on the card. You can do that because you're getting paid regardless. All right, so yeah, that was a really good fight. Next up, we have the first of our performances of the night, and it's the 39-second submission. Brian Kelleher submitting Ray Rodriguez in 39 seconds. Featherweight on this one.
yeah, man, this one I was kind of upset at, man, because I expected, like, I don't know, a 3-round war, because both of these guys are good.
Yeah.
And Rodriguez, I think it was his first time in the UFC, right? It was his debut.
It's his debut.
So he made a rookie mistake, man. He got scared. He felt a little bit of the power, and he went in for a takedown, and that was all she wrote, man. He got locked into a nasty guillotine, man, and it was over.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's not really much else to say except that was impressive from Brian Kelleher, man. It's a good way to get some eyes on you, dude. Like 39 seconds. It's super fast for was it a guillotine?
It was a guillotine, because
A
it was a
guillotine.
guillotine.
Yeah, so just impressive from Brian Kelleher. Looking forward to seeing his next fight for sure.
I mean, we've seen a lot of them, man. I think he has like 4 fights during this little pandemic here, man.
Yeah, I know, man. He's killing it. He's killing it for sure. He's not backing down, and he's still getting impressed. He's getting more and more impressive each time he fights. All right, next up, we got another our second performance of the night. Andre Muniz taking on Bartosz Fabinski, and Andre Muniz getting the submission in the first round, same as Brian Kelleher. This time in 2 minutes and 42 seconds.
Yep.
But he was actually the underdog in this one,
which is crazy to me.
Yeah, I was looking at his Contender Series stuff, and the dude is really good.
He's really good. He's a really good jiu-jitsu guy. The other guy, Fabinski, did have more experience and international experience and stuff like that. And he's a tough dude, like he has some experience. But that level of jiu-jitsu and how strong that dude is, man, like you're not gonna do. If you get taken down, you're gonna tap.
Yeah, man, that's exactly what Muniz did, man. He basically got him to the ground and tapped him out. It wasn't even really like once he got him to the ground, it wasn't really much of a fight. It was just you're waiting for the guy to tap. That was really about it.
That's basically what it was.
All right, so good for him, man. This one, All right, so the next one, performance of the night as well. You have Michel Pereira Lima taking on
Yeah,
Zalim Imadaev, and we
your boy.
have it was my boy until he did that stupid thing against that one fighter. It was ridiculous. I believe in his fight against Diego Sanchez, he looked a lot better. Was
Yeah.
able to calm down, not do as much stuff. He did do something in this fight. He did do a stupid ass backflip in this fight. It bothered the hell out of me. But then he like followed it up with a Showtime kickoff with the cage that landed. It didn't.
Partially landed, but I mean, and that's the thing too. I think it was DC. It was commentating this time, right?
Yeah.
And obviously we love DC, but dude, I mean, he's a salesman, I guess, because now he's talking about welterweights better watch out for this guy and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
No, man.
He had the one impressive knockout in his debut, which is all. I mean, that's that. But thing is, like he's had 4 fights now in the UFC, and that's the only highlight that we're showing is that knockout. And then you're showing. And then what makes me even more mad is that in the lead up, they're showing him doing all these backflips and shit in the fight that he lost.
Exactly.
Like, no, don't do that. Like that was a horrible performance. That was the worst performance I've seen out of any fighter, really, in my opinion. Like that's how bad it was, because it was just you had every opportunity to win that fight and you lost it to yourself.
Yeah, dude, and that's the thing, man. Like I don't know why they're pushing him so much because he had that one. Like if you think about it, he's had one awesome knockout and then 3 like subpar performances.
Like he should have dominated Diego Sanchez.
Yeah, dude, he's like 25 pounds bigger than him.
Yeah, he should have dominated Diego Sanchez, and Diego Sanchez had him on his back foot a lot of the time in that fight.
Yeah, dude. So that's what I'm saying, man. He's not that guy. He's not the one that they think he is. If he goes up against some tougher, stiffer competition, I anticipate the same outcome's going to happen. Because he hasn't really changed. Like he's gotten he's gotten less on his showboat, but he still did it.
He did the hands behind the back thing, and does he need to go back and watch Anderson Silva get knocked out doing that shit?
And then he did the sideways thing where he puts his hands down and just looks at him by the side. Like I don't know, man. I just feel like when you go up against stiff competition like a Neil Magny, he's going to get exposed. I think they're just going to put him up against a lot of people that make him look good right now.
So before we move on, I'm going to go ahead and pull up the rankings for the welterweight division. Because the thing is, man, there's two different kinds of fighters in the welterweight division. There's hardcore wrestlers and there's hardcore brawlers.
Mm-hmm.
And neither one spells, in my opinion, is good for him. Because at the very bottom, if you want to get in the top 15, you got the Savage, Robbie Lawler at 15. Do you think Robbie Lawler is going to let him do that crazy shit inside the octagon? Hell no.
No, he's already seen all that, dude.
Like, it's just ridiculous. And then you have, after that, I know Anthony Pettis is probably going to fight, who is it, Anderson Silva soon, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But Anthony Pettis, the Showtime guy, and I think that's the guy that Michel Pereira enjoys the most. I'm gonna take Showtime in that. Yeah, Showtime does it better than you.
Exactly, and he's a better Muay Thai fighter, and he's a better striker, and he's probably better jiu-jitsu fighter than you.
Yeah, exactly. And dude, and then Nate Diaz is at 13. Don't even get me started on what Nate Diaz would do to that fucking like. But he was stalked and slapped the shit out of him. Sorry, kid. This isn't a PG show.
Well, we saw the Stockton slap done by Ferreira in this fight.
Oh man, you Stockton slapped Nate Diaz, you're gonna get Stockton slapped twice. It'll be fine. But like you said, they're probably gonna give him like a gatekeeper type guy at in the division. I don't know who the gatekeeper is at welterweight division.
Where's Cerrone?
I'm hoping it's not Robbie. Cerrone is not ranked.
There you go. That's the guy.
Oh yeah. Well, he is ranked lightweight. If he wants to if he doesn't want to have to cut weight, then yeah. But you know what? I don't even want to see Cerrone fight that dude because Cerrone might piece him up, man. I don't know.
Yeah, but you're right.
But it'd be a good test.
Yeah, they're gonna give him a gatekeeper type, somebody that's gonna make him look good. So we'll see.
Yeah, because you don't want to feed this guy to Robbie. Robbie will chew him
Especially
up and spit him out.
coming off of these 4 bad fights for Lawler, dude. He wants to
Yeah.
win bad. I'm sure he's hearing the criticism, so he's gonna want to come back. Yeah, I wouldn't do the Robbie fight.
Yeah, me neither. All right, next up, our final performance of the night, and dude, what a knockout from OSP! I didn't know he still had it in him. This looked great. He looked really good in this fight, man. He was able to handle Minifield's crazy, like his flurries. Was able to kind of avoid the punches. And I think even one he kind of got right before he knocked that dude out. He got a little hit like around here or around here, to where it rocked him. It made him lose his balance a little bit, and then he comes back with that punch that just knocked him out cold.
Yeah, well, because he walked into it basically like the force coming forward plus the force coming at you. That's a bad equation right there.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, but yeah, you're right, dude. Like he had gotten rocked because he was a little wobbly, but I don't know, man. Sometimes those are like the ones that kind of get your balance off a little bit, and it just wasn't hard enough to be consistent where he was rocked. But man, it was a great showing for him, man, against a tough Minifield who's a like hungry dude. He's a younger guy. He's hungry. He's up and coming. And the thing about Minifield too is, Minifield couldn't do anything with the reach, man. He was having trouble with the reach the whole fight, the whole 2 rounds that it lasted, man. He was having trouble with his reach and getting on the inside, man. And I feel like we've seen Minifield fight before. I think he lost recently as well, and then he won, I believe. So he has a loss, a win, and then a loss, or a win-loss. I don't know. But he doesn't have the same look that he had before. Like that loss kind of took away that aura of I'm gonna come and beat people up and knock them out.
Yeah, definitely. There we go. Would you label OSP the gatekeeper of the light heavyweight division? Are you ready to do that yet or not?
Yeah, probably. I mean, he's older, dude. He's older, but here's the thing, though. This is looking forward to the next fight that we're going to talk about. You can do a lot of stuff when you're older. You got a lot more experience. You're a lot smarter. You know what to do. And so that might be where he's putting things together now. I mean, gatekeeper, I would say probably that's a good spot for him. But I don't know. It's yet to be seen because he looked really good, dude. He looked really good. Like he didn't look slow. He didn't get like soup. I mean, he got tired, but a normal tired, not like he normally gets tired, which is just gassed by the beginning of the second round somehow.
I think you can probably make a better point or a better argument that the next guy we're going to talk about is probably the gatekeeper more than OSP because of how he looked in that fight as opposed to OSP. But I would put OSP up there because of the age, because he has had a couple bad losses. Not recently, but I think in the last 2 years, he's had some kind of bad losses. So maybe it is not quite there yet to say that Minifield doesn't belong in this division yet. He got cracked. Like there's no denying that, but it wasn't by way of him being not a smart fighter. It was just him. He rocked OSP, went in for the kill, and got cracked.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I feel like he's lacking confidence. I feel like he's lacking confidence right now. Put him up against some guys that are maybe lower or don't have as much experience as a OSP, and you'll see, man. He'll start making some moves again, and again, this is part of the thing where you got to learn how to lose, man. And he's lost to some decent people, so hopefully he learns from that and he goes back to the drawing board and he gets back on it. And this guy's from Texas. I think he's from Dallas, so we do want to see him get better.
Absolutely. What's up, Matt and Caleb? Thank you for coming, brother. I appreciate you joining the show. We're talking about the UFC card from this past weekend. We're about to get into the main event, which we're going to do right now. Overeem versus Sakai. This is the gatekeeper for the heavyweight division, I think, at the moment. You showed it when as soon as Rosenstrike beats Overeem, he gets the fight against Ngannou, loses that fight, but hey, it doesn't mean that he wasn't ready. It just means that he ran into a guy who is a monster.
Yeah. The only thing I'll say about that, man, is, I mean, what did it take for Rosenstrike to beat Overeem?
Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, you're not wrong. He had to explode his lip
because he was getting dominated that whole fight.
Oh, dude. Absolutely. Like that's why. Okay, so hello, Rosario Estrada. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, and it's funny because this is the exact opposite. Basically, he was getting dominated this entire fight, I think,
pretty much.
And he found something that worked in the fourth round, because I think this was in the fifth.
It was
yeah. So he found something that worked in the beginning of the fourth round. Taking him down, he wasn't really able to stop the takedowns, and realized he was doing damage. That was that big hammer fist at the in the end of the fourth round that he realized, you know what, I'm just gonna do that. And literally, and we've seen this how many times where the fighter finds one weakness at the very end of the round. The second round, it ends within 30 seconds, just like it did today.
I feel like
on Saturday.
I feel like it's more with the heavyweights, man, because Stipe figured out DC, and that's what happened. Because I guess they have more power, they have less margin of error that they can do before they get knocked out, And that's right, man. I mean, he was getting kind of beat up for the whole fight. I mean, he was giving back some too, but just not like you'd expect. And then he took him down, and Sakai was tired, dude. You could tell he was like super tired, man. And
it's first 5-round fight, man.
And the thing about it too is, I mean, you got a heavyweight laying on top of you, man. Like, that's a lot of weight. You gotta get them off you. You gotta move around. You gotta make sure you're not getting hit. And it just ended up being too much, man. And he's gonna take this as a learning lesson too, because I mean, who you got up at the top? You got Curtis Blades, who you're gonna have to get through. He's gonna wrestle you. You know what I mean? And you got even like a Derek Lewis. Derek Lewis will take you down too, and he's a big dude.
Mm-hmm. He's gotten better too with that. With his endurance and his stamina and his wrestling ability. And Sakai learned here too as well.
And you look at Stipe. Stipe did that against Ngannou too. He took him down. Mm-hmm. So you're gonna have to learn some form of wrestling to combat those takedowns, so that hopefully you have a chance. With your stand-up, because his stand-up didn't look bad, man, and that didn't look bad against, like I mentioned to you before, one of the best strikers, if not the best heavyweight striker in the division. Which is Overeem.
Yeah, man, and Overeem I think had a problem getting to Sakai. He wasn't really landing any like clean shots, and he was a lot of times kind of and on his back foot, just kind of putting his guard up and trying to survive at certain points. That's why when I saw the finish, and it just surprised the hell out of me. I was like, wow, like it was literally the exact opposite of his fight against Rosenstrike. Being dominated for 4 rounds, or 4.5 rounds maybe, finds that weakness in Sakai, which was basically just he's never been in a 5-round fight before. Never been in a 5-round fight before. Wasn't ready for those championship rounds. And Overeem's been there before. Overeem's been in main events and is able to hold his own in 5-round fights, and lost to a more more prepared fighter in terms of 5-round fights, because it is hard to get that stamina up for 5-round fights, especially if you're a heavyweight, if you've never been there before, because you can spar it all you want. It's not the same.
It's not the same. It's the same thing as game speed in the major sports. You can practice and have cardio, but you're not up to game speed or game ready. Exactly. But man, one of the things that they talked about Overeem, and I was like, man, this is crazy, is he's fought in 4 different decades, basically.
Yeah, he's a second fighter now, because he's the second fighter with Oleinik.
Oh yeah, Oleinik too, but Oleinik is older.
Yeah, well, Oleinik's like 42, 43.
Yeah,
and Overeem is 40.
Yeah, dude. So that was pretty cool, man. That's a pretty cool thing. But again, like as a MMA fan, I've been watching, Overeem for a long time, dude. Before he was Megareem and Ubereem, when he was a 205 pounder that fought Chuck Liddell. And it's just crazy to see, man. Like from a fan perspective, it's awesome. From a person's perspective, man. Oh man, this dude's been in so many wars. He's gotten knocked out so many times.
Yeah.
So it's crazy, man.
Yeah, for sure. All right, man. We're gonna go ahead and kind of change it up a little bit. I want to talk about All Out. So AEW had their pay per view event All Out, which I think is their big pay per view event that they've had now recently. It's happening every year along with Double or Nothing, but I would say this is probably their like SummerSlam, where it's just gonna go. They're gonna go big with crazy matches, and it did not disappoint, man. It was a lot of fun to watch. So many great matches that happened, dude. The main event was Moxley versus MJF. MJF is the basically the top heel in AEW. The
Mhm.
shit talking guy finally got his fight against John Moxley for the title. He was undefeated. He's been undefeated in AEW since AEW started, and was finally able to get his win. Was finally able to get his championship match, which he's been trying to get. Went up against John Moxley, and John Moxley pulls it out with the win. Man, John Moxley is killing it in AEW right now, dude. He really is.
Nice. And are they still keeping up with the records and whatnot?
So I can actually check that on their website. They post like they show them on their when people are coming in. I don't know how much they take into account that because it is it's hard to do that in wrestling. Like it's especially when it's something where we all know that it's not. It's all predetermined. It's just something like that. You have to you got to kind of go away from that. But let me see. I got the results pulled up here. I'm just gonna go to the main things that we need to talk about. Not the first one is the Casino Battle Royale, which the winner of this is guaranteed a shot against the AEW World Champion. And there was a lot of big names in this. So you had basically SoCal Uncensored, SCU, which is a big stable there. You have Santana and Ortiz. You have Brian Cage, who is the Machine. You even have Billy Gunn, the badass Billy Gunn, in there for all you older wrestling fans. You'll remember him from the New Age Outlaws and DX. He does work for AEW, and he comes in and wrestles every now and then. Still looks good. The dude is still has it's a crazy physique. And then you have Darby Allin, who's one of my favorites, as you know. Darby Allin comes in with the last couple people being Sean Spears, who before he jumped in the ring, he decided to go sit on commentary for a little bit and pick his spot. He decided to hold off before going out there into the ring and joining the match. He just kind of sat back on the commentary like a typical heel. That's always a good move. And then you had the Joker, it was a surprise Joker entrant. And it was Matt Sydal. So wrestling fans know him. If you're a wrestling WWE fan, he was known as Evan Bourne in WWE. In Impact in the Indies, he's Matt Sydal. Very high flyer, very exciting wrestler for sure. But it came down to sorry, it came down to at the very end. You have Kingston and Lance Archer, the Murder Hawk, Lance Archer. Lance Archer ends up winning. This dude is a freaking giant. Like it's something about this guy. He's brutal. He's one of those wrestlers that is just you're gonna leave with some bruises after. But it's it won the TNT championship in the first tournament to determine the first TNT champion. However, Cody Rhodes ended up winning it. Cody Rhodes isn't the TNT champion anymore, and he lost it to Brody Lee. But Lance Archer, he kind of disappeared for a little bit, comes back in this match and wins the whole Battle Royal, and he's guaranteed a shot against John Moxley in the near future. So that's going to be a crazy match, dude. Like that, I will tell you to watch that match when it happens. I will tell you when it happens, and you watch it because that is going to be a hard hitting. Both guys like to hurt each other. Like to hurt people. So it's gonna be a fun match for sure between those two.
Definitely, man. I'll definitely check that out.
Yeah, and then you had Matt Hardy versus Sammy Guevara in a Broken Rules match. It was basically just a street fight, but Matt Hardy takes a really hard fall at one point. He finished the match, and Matt Hardy wins via the count out. but Matt Hardy was rushed to the hospital afterwards, or after his match. Uh, oh, thank you, Matt. Yes, Moxley and Lance Archer had an amazing match in New Japan. So I'll send you that one so you can check that one out.
Yeah, I definitely want to check it out, man.
Because those guys, they're gonna put on a hell of a match when they do take on each other. But yeah, Matt Hardy was taken to the hospital. They did check him out, and he was, I believe there's no concussion. He wasn't concussed. He was very lucky, but it was a very scary fall for sure. And yeah, Matt says that match probably should have been stopped.
Wow.
But these wrestlers are pretty stubborn, unfortunately.
Prideful.
For their own, like maybe very probably against their own good, but they are very prideful and are willing to put it all out on the line.
Maybe,
all right, so
maybe they need a corner, man, to stop it.
Yeah, it's something that maybe the wrestler needs to put things in. The referee needs to put things in and like give them more power to stop that match, because it does go to the top, and the referee will ask the wrestler, "Can you continue?" And if he says yes, then they'll relay that back to whoever's in the back.
Dude, he was unconscious for 45 seconds.
Yeah, and they still continued it. So I think that's something that maybe people look at the higher ups in AEW, man.
That's horrible. That's horrible, man.
They have to be smarter about that, and I'd be interested to see if they address that tomorrow on AEW. Next up, we have the AEW Women's Championship, and this was interesting because this is like a AEW NWA partnership that happened here. So the AEW Women's Champion, who is Hikaru Shida, taking on Thunder Rosa, San Antonio's own. I know she's stationed in San Antonio. I don't know if she's really from San Antonio, but I know she is a Hispanic wrestler. In Lucha Underground, she was known as Cobra Moon. She does do a little MMA. I don't know her name, but she does do like local MMA in San Antonio. But she is the NWA Women's Champion for NWA Power. So whole different company. But she comes in and takes on AEW, so it kind of hints at a future maybe partnership with a NWA, which would be pretty cool. Interesting. Yeah. Pretty good wrestlers there for at NWA for sure. And after the Young Bucks left New Japan, they kind of ruined their relationship with New Japan. So a lot of people are always looking forward to more New Japan stuff with AEW, but I don't think it's going to happen in the near future. So to see them do it with NWA is kind of cool. And that's what NWA is really known for, right, Matt? It's known for old school wrestling. It's very much old school. They're not more flying around. They're not jumping around. Yeah, exactly. It's meant to be like that. So definitely a really good match. And Hikaru Shida continuing her championship reign, which a lot of people were surprised by it because Nyla Rose took the title off of Riho. And everyone was kind of expecting Nyla Rose to have this long run, but then her first defense against Hikaru Shida, and she loses it. So loses it to Hikaru Shida, and she's been pretty dominant, and good for her. So I don't know who the next contender will be. We'll see going forward, but there's some names out there you could throw out there. If Matt wants to throw out who he would like to see take on Hikaru Shida next, feel free. And then I didn't watch this match, the Dark Order versus Matt Cardona. And I didn't watch the last one. I really just watched the AEW Championship match. And, dude, this is a good match. This is a good match. MJF is the perfect, definition of what an old school heel is. He's a heel that takes it out of the ring. He will flick off kids.
Wow.
At autograph events. Sometimes people say he takes it a little too far.
He's always on.
He's always on, exactly, and that's where the kayfabe word comes from. Is about hey, these guys don't know, these fans don't know that it's fake. Let's keep it up. That's where let's maintain kayfabe. That's where that comes from, and that's what MJF does, but this is definitely a really good match. Not the best match that Moxie's put on, but probably the best match that MJF has put on. Moxie's been doing it for so damn long. You can find matches in WWE, CZW, New Japan after he left WWE. So, but yeah, man, this is good. I'm really looking forward to AEW Dynamite. I don't normally even watch AEW Dynamite week by week, but I'm definitely going to be tuned in for this week's episode of AEW for
Nice.
sure. But let's go ahead and move on to Dana White Contender Series. So we just watched it a few hours ago. Very good episode. Very good episode. These guys were all about the finishes, and first round finishes is that, not just finishes.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to catch the first 3. I think I saw the last 2, which were really good. So you can walk me through the first 3 and let me know which ones I should watch and which ones I shouldn't.
All right, give me a second. Let me pull it up so I have the names correctly because there are some tough names to go over in that one. So let me pull it up real quick. Dude, we're already on week 8. I mean, week 9. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong one. Hold on. Sorry about that.
We're on week 6.
Sorry about that. Yes, you're right. I was looking at the wrong one. Not bad. All right, week 6, dude. This is crazy. We're already on week 6 because there's only one more week.
I think so.
I think they're only doing 7 weeks.
Yeah.
But please, Dana, take our advice and do it year round.
Well, they're doing it again in November for sure. So we're taking off. I guess half of September, all of October, and then we're coming back in November. So
I'm looking forward to it. But all right, so the first one. Okay. All right, so the first one we had was middleweight fight. It was Alexab Kazarev taking on Hinehike Shigemoto. Yeah, say those names 5 times fast. And dude, Alexab takes it 50 seconds, gets a rear naked choke on Hinehike Shigemoto, and it's over. Quick, fast. No nonsense. Was trying to get in and out of there. It was a good, really great performance. Next up, you had the bantamweight division. Draco Rodriguez taking on Mana Martinez, and these two actually they scrapped it out a little bit on the feet. Draco Rodriguez is able to get to the ground, but they had like submissions, man. I mean, they were going for submissions at one point. Rodriguez went for an armbar that Martinez turned to an omoplata, and then Rodriguez was able to counter that into a triangle choke.
Yeah, man, I did get to see that the highlight of that, and that transition, dude, from being in an omoplata to getting a triangle choke was nice, man. That's high level right there. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, man, it was great, dude. It was really good.
and we don't see this a lot either. The final official decision or official whatever was by technical submission, and that's because he passed out.
He did pass out. Did not tap, which is dumb. Oh my god.
I mean,
part of me feels like it doesn't look tough. Like it's just.
I mean,
it's not the same thing in wrestling. In wrestling, that's a good thing because you're like you put your character over as like not willing to give in. But in MMA, like that's not real. Like in MMA, like you can really hurt yourself.
Well, dude, I mean, I know it is, dude, but that's just how it is for these Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guys. I've told you in the past to go back and look up that Frank Mir versus Nogueira fight, and Nogueira is notorious for not tapping because I mean he's actually almost never in bad position, but Frank Mir is just a better Jiu-Jitsu guy, and he got him in this. I think it's like an Americana, and he broke his arm, dude. He just broke his arm, and they called the fight, and that was it. You know, it's just I don't know, like you said, pride or stubbornness or whatever, but these jiu-jitsu guys don't ever want to tap. So I don't know if that was the case for this one, or if he just thought
maybe he thought he was in less trouble than he actually was.
He actually was, and then the squeeze was just too much, too fast, and he just passed out.
Yeah. But big win for Draco, gets the contract as well as Alexab. Next up, you had Philip Hawes in a middleweight fight taking on, Jesus Christ, Kadzimierat Bastayev. And this one was just a straight knockout from Hawes. Knocked him out. He stiffened up, fell to the ground, jumps on him, and throws a couple hammer punches, calls the fight in a minute and 18 seconds. So this one is quick work as well, and Philip Hawes gets the contract as he deserves.
Well, dude, I think Phil Hawes. Let me see.
I think it was the second time on the Contender Series, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but where's this guy from, man? I don't know why. I don't know. I have to look it up, but if I'm not mistaken, was he a wrestler before?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't have my earphones in during like the talk, so I don't know any of these guys' stories. I just was watching the fights basically.
All right, okay. Well, I need to look that one up too because you said he knocked him out pretty ugly, right?
Yeah, man, it was pretty crazy. Pretty crazy, man. All right, so next up we had this is the one you watched as well.
Yep.
We had Sherrod Blackledge taking on Cameron Church. This is a scrap, man. This is a scrap from both guys. Just looked like Blackledge had the reach advantage, was able to land more. But dude, Church took some crazy shots, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this was and we talked about this before we came on live, but it was I guess for the first 2 rounds, it looked like Blackledge was winning definitively and putting it on him, and like you said, Church was taking some shots, so it looked like it might end in a finish if Blackledge just did a little bit more, or maybe shifted into the last gear he had if he had another gear.
Yeah,
but in that 3rd round, he kind of coasted, and I told you that I don't know if you heard, but in between rounds, his team told him that he was up 2 rounds, and so he was probably just trying to minimize the risk and get to the bell so he can win this fight. Maybe I don't know. Maybe he didn't think he could finish him, or maybe he didn't want to take that risk. But it was just I don't know. It was just he laid off the gas. In other words, and like you said in the Contender Series, man, you can't do that.
No,
you can't do that.
Man.
You need to win. You need a finish, or you need a finish, or you need like a super dominant win.
Super dominant, and one of the main things that Dana is always saying he looks for is you're looking for the finish. You're not just coasting. You're trying to finish your guy, and that's where we saw I think the prime example is Cheyenne Bays. Cheyenne Bays was trying and looking for the finish every time she had a chance. Wasn't there one? There might have been one last weekend that did the same thing. No. Ronnie Lawrence.
Yeah,
Ronnie Lawrence, another one where he didn't get the finish, but he was getting in there and mixing it up and trying to get the finish. He didn't give up and just coast on the fact that he was winning, because he literally won all 3 rounds. He didn't coast on the fact that he won the first 2 rounds, and that's what Dana looks for. And I mentioned that before we jumped on. I was like, I think he's not going to get the contract because of that round. And I'm assuming, I didn't listen to it, but I'm assuming that's exactly what he said.
Yeah, he didn't get. Well, yeah, I didn't listen to it, but he didn't get the contract.
Yeah, so come back again though, man, because he looks. I mean, Blackledge looks like he can hang it with people in this division, and especially in lightweight. That dude's lanky for lightweight.
What did he say? He's like 6'6" or something.
Yeah, man. Like, and you have that kind of reach. You're gonna have the reach advantage on the majority of the people in that division.
Yep.
There's probably like 1 or 2. What division? Roosevelt Roberts is lightweight, so maybe he won't have the advantage on Roosevelt Roberts, but you'll probably be matched up pretty nicely with him.
Well, James Vick is up there too. James Vick is like 6'4" or something like that, so that might be a good fight actually.
Yeah, and we'll get to some of the perennial lightweights coming up in the upcoming card when we get to it. Next up, we had the premier, the featured bout, which is in light heavyweight. We have Tafon Nchukwi taking on Al Modavillo. And Modavillo is he's a middleweight. There's no other way to say it.
Basically, he came in at 200 pounds, you said, and 5 pounds lighter than his opponent at weigh-ins. But I mean, it looks like if it was 205, I mean, Nchukwi looked like he was 245, man.
Yeah, man. You even thought that was a heavyweight bout
Yeah, I did. I
because of
really
how
did.
big he was. Yeah, he looked like freaking Ngannou, dude. Like, he really did. Uh, Ngannou at 205. I mentioned I think that that Nchukwu because he is so slow that he would probably be better fit up there at heavyweight,
Mhm.
and and Malaveo should probably cut 15 pounds and make 185.
185. Yep, and that should tell you, how the difference in size for these two guys.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. It was like a little fly just flying around a lion,
Yeah,
basically.
and he was cracking them, man. Like he was, and what I'm saying, he is
Not a veil,
Motavel
yeah.
was catching them and cracking them, but it just wasn't enough power there to take him out, man, or to
Hmm.
affect them. Now, I did like what Bisping said, because he was hitting them with some really hard leg shots,
He
and if
should
he
have
would,
kept it.
yeah, in the second round he stopped doing that in the second round, and if he would have kept it up by the third round, I think he would have had something and probably could have gone for maybe a finish or just ground and pound or something because he couldn't stand. But it
Yeah.
didn't work out that way, man. He and like again, Bisping was on the button analyzing it. He just kept escaping the same way. He kept
Hmm.
escaping, putting his head down to the right. And at this level, man, even though you're not in the UFC, the guys who make it to the Contender Series are at a high level. You keep doing one thing and you keep being repetitive, and they're gonna figure it out, man. And when they figure it out, they're gonna put two and two together and knock you out.
Yeah, and the thing that Montevideo was doing over and over again, I saw this knockout coming from a mile away, is because he would constantly dip down to his, I believe it was to his left, constantly dip down to his left, and eventually he got caught with a kick that you said Nchukwu threw two times before that they were blocked,
Yep.
and the
Well,
last time it wasn't blocked.
he blocked one and he missed one. And the last one landed flush.
Yeah, man. The
So
last one landed right on the top of the head. I did get on Bisping because he said chin to shin, or he said shin to chin, and it wasn't the chin. It was about like right here on the head.
yeah,
But it was like the temple right here, basically, and it knocked him out cold, basically.
turn the lights
Uh,
out.
yeah, he was out for a while too. It took a while to be able to get him back up
Yeah,
because,
man.
dude, Nchukwu looks like he hits hard. Like
Yeah.
those body kicks were hurting me.
Everything he was landing was hurting, dude.
So, dude, it was if I'm out of Iowa, man, I'm making that cut because that is, and I don't even back up cuts. I don't even like weight cutting. You need to cut weight because you're not nearly big enough to hang with the guys at 205. Like
Yeah.
that ducking is probably Dominic Reyes knocks him out the first time he does that duck.
Ozdemir knocks him out. Yeah,
Ozdemir knocks him out.
and the other thing too is like, we say that, but it could also been a either like a a last minute thing
Yeah,
or
that's true.
or a hey, you want to get on the Contender Series, but you got to fight at 205, kind of deal. We
Very
don't
true.
we don't know, and we did see, and I mean, he was pretty fast, and he was pretty. I mean, he had good technical kicks and good technical punches. He had a 1-2. He was just trying to land the overhand right, but one thing that Bisping did say is because he was so much faster, he could have done better with the feints to get
Yeah.
Nchukwu to kind of bite on him, but he didn't. So maybe he does need to go to 185. I mean, he definitely does in my opinion. Go to 185, but at 185 he loses a lot of his speed advantage. So
Yeah. That's true. That's true. I mean, there's a benefit and a negative to everything. The benefit, I think, is that he would probably be just as big or a little bigger than the guys at 185. Uh, but the negative is that he's going to be losing certain things.
yep,
He's going to be losing that speed. That honestly, that the speed was what, I don't know if it won him the round in round one, but it definitely kept it close
agreed.
in round one. All right, but so there we go. We have four contracts handed out this week. Dude, that's just a lot of contracts that have been handed out over this Contender Series. We have one more week next week. We have a middleweight, 3 featherweight fights, and a welterweight fight. So, and none of these are women's. I was like, if there's a women's featherweight, like that'd be interesting because there's nobody at women's featherweight.
No, I doubt it, man. Yeah, I mean next week is looking pretty good from fight standpoint as far as Saturday and Tuesday, man. We're getting a lot of good fights coming up.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna definitely be fun. Next week's episode is gonna be a lot of fun for sure.
Yep.
All right, let's go ahead and jump into next week's card, man. Big time card. As you mentioned earlier, to me, it is the first time that a woman of African American heritage is gonna be main eventing in the UFC.
That's right.
And this is a legit main event. They both agreed to a 5-round fight, which is awesome. That's what it should be. I don't think that you should be the main event if you can't agree to a 5-round fight.
Why you always try to mess as a beat, man? You're always bringing the beat in. Is a beat didn't do anything to you, and you always brings a beat into it.
You know what? I wasn't even bringing the beat into this one. I was bringing in who was the most recent fight to have it. There was a fight recently that went 3 rounds. I'm not blanking on it.
I forgot who it is.
It up. 1 second. I'm about to look it up. When I see it, I'm no. Oh, Smith versus Rakic was 3 rounds, wasn't it?
Yeah. Smith versus
That
Rakic.
was 3 rounds. Brunson versus Shabazian was 3 rounds. If you're not ready to go 5 rounds, especially if you're the co-main event, you need to be ready for a 5-round fight to get the call.
Agreed.
You got to be ready. It's just like in regular sports. You got to be ready to get that call. But we're gonna get this one, and this is a very exciting fight. But I'm gonna go ahead and call out some pretty interesting fights in the prelims. You have first, you have Brock Weaver making his return after that embarrassing loss to Roosevelt Roberts, and I think if I'm Brock Weaver, I need
this is it.
Highlight reel knockout, or I am going to be cut.
Yeah, this is it. He has. I mean, Frank Camacho is no joke, dude. So he has a tough fight ahead of him.
Oh yeah, Camacho is tough, dude. But he needs to get it, man. There's no looking back on. Oh man, it was a tough opponent. Like no. You need to get this win. You've had an embarrassing loss. You've had the horrible knee to the face that he took, but he was losing that fight anyways.
Yeah.
Because I think what he had in the Contender Series when we first saw him, he had aggression, he had technique, and he had toughness. Like he was just tough as hell. And then you come in the UFC and that's gone. All gone. Yep. No toughness. You look scared. You look timid. You want to be a warrior, but you're not living up to that persona, and you gotta have to live up to it now.
Yeah, man. I mean, the octagon, you can't lie in there. You know what I mean? And he can talk everything he wants to get into it, but once you're in there, dude, you got another guy across the cage from you that's looking to knock your head off, man. So, yeah, man, he needs a big win. I don't know, man. I don't know if this is the guy he's gonna get it against.
I mean, if he does it, it's going to look good because it's Frank Camacho, because Camacho is tough as hell. But it's not. I probably wouldn't take him. I would probably take Camacho on this one.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. Brock he's probably one of my biggest disappointments since watching the UFC lately.
Yeah, he had a lot of potential coming in, and I think a lot of people have been let down so far. So hopefully he does better. But real quick before we move on to the next one, man, I think we glossed over a welterweight that I think is going to be a really good fight, potential maybe fireworks and fight of the night in Brian Barberena and Anthony Ivy.
Yes.
Brian Barberena is a gamer, dude. He had a awesome fight of the year candidate fight against Vicente Luque.
Yeah.
So I definitely think that's one that you guys should watch out for and keep your eye on.
For sure, man. Move on to the next one. I'm going to go ahead and skip over Bobby Green, Alan Patrick, and go to this one because I think another guy who has a huge upside but went up against the gatekeeper of the lightweight division and got embarrassed.
Mm-hmm.
And that is Roosevelt Roberts. So Roosevelt Roberts in his last fight against Jim. First, he had the really good win against Brock Weaver. And then you go up against the gatekeeper because this is the guy that you go up against to try to make it into that top echelon. See if you're ready. If you're not, then you drop right back down. He ended up getting tapped out in was it a guillotine?
It was a guillotine.
Or was it an armbar? It was a guillotine, right? And
no. I think it was
an armbar, right?
Yeah, it was an armbar.
Oh yeah, because it was standing.
Yeah.
Roosevelt Roberts was standing up and tapped fast. But yeah, so Roosevelt Roberts looking to get a win here, and once as same as Brock, not a guy really that's a feed you to another fighter guy in Matt Frivola.
Matt Frivola, man. 8-1 Matt Frivola. Matt Frivola. I mean, this is gonna be a good fight too, man. I mean, another potential fight of the night right here.
Yeah, yeah, this would be crazy. And the only difference is that Roosevelt is not in any trouble. I don't believe he ran into a tough as hell Jim Miller.
Yep, veteran.
Yeah, veteran who you gave up your arm, and Jim Miller did the smart thing and not even standing with Roosevelt. He literally was like, no, I'm not even gonna try and bang with you.
Yeah, that's that fight IQ.
Yeah, so Roosevelt Roberts could get back into Dana's good graces with a win here for sure.
Definitely.
Next up, you have women's bantamweight. You have Julia Avila taking on Sajara Eubanks. This would be a good fight too. Sajara Eubanks is a
didn't Eubanks
banger,
just
man.
fight though?
She just fought, dude, and went because she tapped the girl.
Well, didn't she
TKO'd her, didn't she?
Agapova?
Yeah, she TKO'd her if I'm not mistaken.
I think so.
Let me see. I'm checking to make sure we're not thinking of the wrong person. No, her last fight was against Morris and May. Who are we thinking of?
I don't know, man.
I don't either. Oh well. Forgive us, Sajara Eubanks.
Yeah.
But Julia Avila, I don't really know who to call in this fight. I think I'll probably lean towards Julia Avila, but this will be a tough fight.
It's gonna be a tough fight.
Both girls.
Yep.
Yeah, flyweight number 9 Matt Schnell taking on a unranked guy, Tyson Nam.
So, dude, Matt Schnell's from Houston, man. So he fights out of Houston.
Okay, he's got a tough one with Tyson Nam, man.
Yeah, he does. But
Tyson, if I'm not mistaken, he's the guy he knocked that dude out, right? I forgot what it was.
Let's see.
I forgot where it was.
You talking about he knocked out Zaruk Adeshev in June?
Yeah.
In June?
Yeah, and it was really, really good. Like, it was badass.
Yeah. So, but he had a loss before that to Kaya
France.
Yeah. So this is gonna be a tough fight. But it looks like it's one trying to set up match now.
Yeah, but what do we always say about those fights, man?
Yeah, and Schnell hasn't fought in a while because he was working on a new contract with the UFC. I think he finally signed it a few months ago.
Yeah.
But he was on a semi tear. And he's very exciting and a very exciting fighter. So this should be a good fight.
Yeah. Next up on the first fight on the main card, you have Billy Quarantillo taking on Kyle Nelson, featherweight. Quarantillo as well, a Dana White Contender Series alum. Very good, I think. Very good for him. Then you have the one that I didn't even realize this was scheduled. Modafferi taking on Andrea Lee. Yeah. Number 8 versus number 9. And this is going to be tough. I don't know where to go on this one. Modafferi is very, very back and forth with me.
I feel like she's always the one that you pick against her, and that's the one that she wins. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then you bet on her and she loses.
Yeah, dude. And I think that's kind of what she's been doing for her career. But I mean, she has a definitive grappling and jiu-jitsu advantage against Andrea Lee. So I'm curious to see if she's gonna take her down, or if
she wants to hang.
Yeah, if she wants to hang.
Yeah, if she wants to hang. I mean, Andrea Lee is tough as hell. So I would definitely lean towards Andrea Lee if she does want to keep the fight standing. But it all comes down to Roxanne. Does she want to get her to the ground?
Mm-hmm.
So that would be a good fight. And then you have, I'm looking forward to this one too, Ottoman Azaitar taking on Kama Worthy.
Your boy Kama Worthy.
I like Kama Worthy. I like him a lot. He's hungry. That's the thing I noticed about him, especially after his last win. This dude is hungry. He wants to fly up these rankings as fast as possible.
Yep.
And the lightweight division is no slouch of a division. It is a tough as hell division that is hard to climb the rankings. Like, I haven't seen a new guy really climb through the rankings besides probably Dariush.
Yeah, I mean Dariush,
and Hooker.
Qatar.
That's featherweight.
Oh yeah, that is featherweight. You're talking about
Yeah,
lightweight.
man. Lightweight is the guys I'm looking
Lightweight,
at.
yeah, lightweight is hard, dude.
It's hard to get in there because you have all these guys that are veterans. Really, you don't really have any young guys up there.
And in their prime,
Yeah.
and they keep winning.
Like, look, you want me? I'll read it off for you. Number
Yeah,
15, Drew Dober. 14, Donald Cerrone. 13, Gregor Gillespie. 2, Islam Makachev. Then you have Dariush, Kevin Lee, Iaquinta, Ferreira, Felder, Oliveira, Hooker, McGregor, Ferguson, Poirier, Gaethje. Like that's a that's that's like what is it? In Mortal Kombat, like the very last ladder you have to get through.
yeah, that totem that you got to go through, man.
Yeah, man, it was ridiculous. It's like, oh, you're gonna fight first. You got to fight Scorpion, and then without getting any of your HP back, you got to fight Sub-Zero right after that. Come on, man. And then and then you have fucking Shao Kahn, which is Khabib right at the very top. It's ridiculous, man. It's crazy. So
is Goro
it's tough.
For you?
Oh, Goro is Gaethje.
Gaethje or Ferguson?
Yeah, I give it to Gaethje. Gaethje or Ferguson, one of those two.
Yeah.
We'll say Dustin Poirier is Jax because he's got them heavy hands.
Heavy hands. Heavy hands. Poirier.
Heavy hands. That should be his new one, not diamond. Well, I guess you could say his hands are made of diamond.
There you go.
Next up, oh damn, Covington went down hard.
Yeah, it's broke. It looks like a broken nose.
Oh shit.
Yeah, he's out, dude.
All right. Then we get to the main event. This is a fight. This fight's too tough to call. I don't want to call. You call it. You do it.
Oh man, I don't know. Like I mentioned to you, Michelle Waterson has been around a long time. Angela Hill has as well, but not as long as Michelle Waterson. Angela Hill comes from the Ultimate Fighter. She was on the women's, I think the first women's Ultimate Fighter. Mm-hmm. Both of these ladies are stand-up fighters. Angela Hill is more of a volume puncher.
Elbows, knees,
volume Muay Thai, and she's gotten better in her craft over the years. She's tough as heck, man.
The thing about her is I learned on the Rogan podcast, she started at age 24.
Yeah.
She had never even done anything. She's young in the game.
Yeah, so she's a late starter. But she's tough, man. She's tough. There's been fights where she's been getting beat up and she stays in it and she still tries to win. She doesn't give up. And I think that's part of the mentality that's gotten her to where she's at, man, which is fighting these big fights. Now, Michelle Waterson, on the other hand, she's been around for forever, dude. She came up as a karate hottie, and she has a karate background. She's very precise with the striking. She has a little bit more power. So I think it's going to be a tough fight for Angela Hill just because she's going up against somebody that is a really, really good striker for the division. And she Waterson only has trouble with people with power that are either on the same level as her, better strikers than her, or wrestlers. And that's not Angela Hill. So I don't know, man. I just feel it's a tough out for Angela Hill in her first main event, a historic main event at that. So I'm taking Waterson, in my opinion.
Yeah. Like the last person I saw Michelle Waterson really have a hard time against was Joanna.
Yeah.
Carla Esparza was kind of a back and forth, was mostly because Esparza won the way she normally wins, is just, laying on top of her opponent for the majority of the fight. And before that, she had the win against Van Zandt. Mm-hmm. So, Karate Hottie's still hanging around. She's able to, be around that area. I'm not calling Waterson the gatekeeper, but this is the big test for Angela Hill. Can you get past one of the top girls in the division? But she's the top girl, but she's a top 10. She's that gatekeeper for the top 10, not necessarily a gatekeeper for the top 15. She's to see if you can get in that upper echelon, if you can get to the to the Esparzas. And you know what? Gadella's here at number 6, but Angela Hill had the hell of a fight against Gadella.
Yeah, that was a really close fight too. I mean, it wasn't easy victory for Gadella by any stretch,
Yeah, but I mean, like you she's able to take out Waterson The only people above Watterson is Esparza, Godella, Ansarov, who's pregnant, Jajic, Tatiana Suarez, Andrade, and Namajunas. That's all the top tiers. Like after basically Watterson, it's really only Esparza, Godella before you get to the top girls in the division. I don't know why Suarez is ranked number 4. I mean, Suarez is 3 over Joanna, but it is what it is, I guess.
Well, because Joanna got that loss.
To Wei Lee?
Yeah.
Like she didn't lose a scrub, and and most people think she won the fight.
Yeah, but they just don't want her to.
What was Suarez's last? But she might be, like you said, she might be retired anyways.
Who?
You're saying that she might be retired.
Oh, Joanna. Yeah, Joanna put 33 and retired on her Instagram post. I think she didn't done it again since we last talked about it. So, yeah.
So, but so really, there's not anybody to watch. Maybe a Suarez fight, but I don't know what Suarez is doing right now. But I don't really want to see Angela Hill go up against Andrade yet until she can show that she can not only handle Watterson but take her out.
We're gonna find out.
Those are heavy hitters at the top, man.
Yep.
All right, but who do you want to make a prediction? Who are you taking
on this fight?
Yeah,
I told you, man. I think Watterson's gonna take it.
I'm probably gonna agree with you. I'm not gonna go crazy on this one. I'm gonna go crazy and pick Kama Worthy in the second in the co-main event. But yeah, it's gonna be a crazy fight, dude, for sure. This could be a fight of the night candidate as well.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm glad they're getting their shine, man. I think it's gonna be a good fight. We'll see how it does. It's a free fight, right, on ESPN Plus. So I mean, just something extra to watch, man. But I'm excited about these fights, man.
Yeah. All right, man. So we got a little bit of time before we got to head out. We've only been on for about an hour and 15, but we can probably head out a little early because it is 10:42 here.
Yeah.
But let's break down, man. We got football coming up this week.
Oh, that's right, man.
We got football. The NFL is returning starting Thursday night. We got our Houston Texans taking on the Kansas City Chiefs, and the group that I'm in, where we're talking a lot of football. I told them I'm going crazy and I'm picking the Texans game 1. Why not?
Hey, I'll pick them as well, even though we got less on offense than we had last year. Well, yeah, I guess. But I don't know, man. It's very interesting. We're going up against the Texans are going up against the reigning champs. Both quarterbacks now with monster deals under their belt. Deshaun Watson just signed yesterday or the day before yesterday. I don't remember.
Thank God.
And
I think it was Saturday. He signed Saturday.
But it was only like a 2-year deal, right? Or a 3-year deal or something like that.
No, it's not a 4-year extension. You're thinking of Hopkins. Hopkins signed a 2-year
extension. Hopkins signed a 2-year extension. Yeah. So yeah, Deshaun Watson signed a 4-year.
Deshaun's a 4-year extension.
And then we all know what Mahomes signed. The 10-year $1 billion basically.
Was it 500? Was it 500?
Yeah, like $400 and something $1 million deal or something like that.
Yeah, but I think only like 100 million of it is guaranteed, which is ridiculous.
It's a ludicrous. Yeah, but he has opt outs and whatever.
I was saying it's ridiculous that there wasn't more guaranteed.
Yeah, he got everything he wanted, man. He's the best player right now, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, like halfway through the deal, they're going to restructure him.
Yeah,
give him either more money or because I don't think his play is going to decrease. I don't think he's going to decrease in the next 5 years.
No,
so they'll probably find a way to give him more money.
No, not with the weapons he got to surround him either, man. They just keep reloading, So yeah, man. I mean, it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a tough game. But I mean, obviously going to pick the Texans. They had them last year, right where they wanted them, with the 21-point lead in the end of the third quarter, I believe it was.
Yeah, man. No, it was the middle of the second quarter. We ended up losing the lead by halftime.
No, that's not right.
In the playoffs. Fuck yeah, dude, that was pissed because we were up 24-0. And we ended up being down like 28-24 by halftime.
Let me see.
It was bad, man. It was one of the biggest collapses I've ever seen. It wasn't even like a late game collapse. It was literally in the middle of the second quarter. We were losing by halftime. The worst thing I've never seen something so bad.
Mm-hmm.
It was bad, and I think the Texans have a beef, and I think Deshaun Watson is a very what did he do after losing that game, that very close game against Saban and the Alabama? He comes back and he wins the championship. Has probably one of the best games of all time in a championship game, besides Joe Burrow. So I mean, Deshaun Watson is a competitive guy. I think these are going to be the two guys that compete throughout the years. It's going to be maybe a three-way dance between these two young guys and Lamar Jackson in the coming decade. You know, the two guys, because eventually we're going to have Brady, Breeze, Rodgers will all be gone. You know, and these three guys are going to be the mainstay.
Yep.
So I'm excited to see this. I really honestly believe this is one of very many meetings that these two will have, not only in the regular season but even in the postseason too. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I agree, man.
I think the Texans will put up a much bigger fight than a lot of people realize.
Well, you know, it's interesting as well, man, because you know I forgot to tell you, one of the other things I've been watching is Hard Knocks, man, and just the differences I've just seen. You know, a layman watching Hard Knocks from before with this whole, you know, new normal of COVID and how they're doing things and how they're not allowing them to practice or scrimmage or preseason games or whatever. I mean, I think it's prime for someone like the Texans to take advantage of maybe a rusty team, you know, a rusty Kansas City team that you know they have to be hitting on all cylinders to be as great as they are. Maybe they're not going to be. So it's just going to be interesting to see the type of gameplay, how it's going to play out, who's going to take advantage, what offense is going to be. Is this lead up going to be better suited for? Which one needs more time together, you know, to click on all cylinders? And like you said, man, we're going to get a chance to see, you know, two of the top quarterbacks for the next basically 10 years go at it to open the season up. And all eyes are going to be on these two teams because it's the opening game on a Thursday night, which is fantastic, man. I'm glad Deshaun Watson and the city of Houston and the Texans are getting this time to be in front of the limelight and to have all their eyes on them because it's deserved, man. I mean, they've been, you know, Deshaun Watson's been hustling and grinding for so long. I wouldn't say necessarily that Bill O'Brien deserves it, but you know, that's what we got. That's what we got here. And you know, we'll see how it turns out, and maybe the Texans will go out and shock some people.
Yeah. So I actually have my predictions that I made to some of the guys that I've talked to football with. So I'll go over them real quick, and then I want to get yours. I have this thing called the playoff predictor, and I can put and I can take your picks in, and let's kind of compete week by week. Why not?
Why not?
So I have Texans over Chiefs, obviously, Bears over Lions, Ravens over Browns, Colts over Jaguars. I know some people are calling for the upset, or maybe not the upset, but the less popular pick. I'm gonna pick the popular pick and go Pats over Dolphins. I believe in Cam. I think Cam is still a good quarterback, and I don't know if that defense is getting better over Miami. I just don't know if it's quite there. I think Miami is still a year away from competing. You have Eagles over the Washington football team, Bills over over the Jets, Vikings over Packers. I think the Packers are going to have a slow start. I really do. I think that
they always usually do.
Yeah, they always, like you said, they always normally do. But I think things are really they're really taking a hit ever since they drafted Jordan Love. I think Aaron Rodgers is just kind of he's feeling the same sting that probably Brett Favre felt when they drafted him. So I guess turnabout's fair play. I don't know, but then I went Raiders over Panthers. I don't think that really needs to be explained. Seahawks over Falcons. Bengals over Chargers. I don't like Justin Herbert. I don't.
Well, he's not the starting quarterback.
I know, but I don't like Tyrod Taylor either. Like, let's be honest. Like,
It's funny you say that because every year the team that's on Hard Knocks, I always like, man, that's gonna be a good team. That's gonna be a good team. And every year they're not a
They're
good
not
team.
good.
But I
It's just
mean,
because you're watching them.
yeah, I mean, on offense, man, they look. I mean, they got Austin Eckler, they got
Mike Williams.
Mike Williams, but they also have what's his name? Oh, dude, what's the guy's
Oh,
name? The other guy, other big receiver.
Blah, 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 blah. Damn it. Is it Allen? Is the last name Allen?
Keenan Allen.
Keenan Allen. There you go.
Yeah, so they got some good like a good
Yeah.
offense, man. And then on defense you got who do you got on defense? What's that guy's name? Is it Melvin Ingram? They got Melvin Ingram.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
he just signed a 1-year deal with them to get back on the field. So I mean, I don't know, man. I think they're a little underrated, and I think they're gonna be better than people think, man.
I guess, man. I don't know. I just this is like the one really good game that I think I have Joe Burrow playing. You know, he's not going to be playing in front of a crowd. He's going to be able to kind of go out there and relax and calm down. And I do think he's a good quarterback. I like his weapons actually. I think he's got a lot of good weapons. It's mostly that line that worries me. But he showed in the championship game that he can move and run. So I think that I am going to go Bengals. I think it's going to be one of those close games. That could be the tie game of the season. You know, there's always one.
There's always one that starts off the season. Now, one thing I've been hearing a lot of, and I want to get your take on it, is, I mean, I'm hearing a lot of people say that Burrow's going to break the rookie passing record, man. What do you think?
Who has it? The rookie passing record? Is it Peyton?
I think it's Peyton.
That's tough, man. You think about what Peyton came into the league with. Like, I think he had a little bit more to work with than Burrow has. I would say
it's Newton.
Oh, yeah. Well,
he beat Peyton by 51 yards that year.
Nope, he's not gonna break it.
So 4,000.
Newton definitely had more to work with than Burrow has right now.
Holy crap! Hold on, never mind. I think it was
or is it Kyler?
No, I think it's Andrew Luck.
Is it Andrew?
Andrew Luck. So it was Peyton at 4,000. Then Cam Newton beat it by 51 yards, and then Andrew Luck beat it by 50 yards at 41.01. So the record's 41.01.
Okay. I don't think Burrow beats it. Like I said, I like the weapons that Burrow has. I don't know if it's enough to be able to break the record, especially playing in that division. That division's always tough, man. They all play each other tough.
But he's gonna be behind a lot. I mean, for the most part, you know.
Yeah.
Who's the running back?
It's Mixon.
I mean, he's a good running back, but
he's a good running back. It's just not enough to. They probably will be playing behind a lot. Like I said, it's always like you can be playing behind, but are you still are you throwing garbage yards? Because I don't know if they don't allow garbage yards in the AFC North.
I mean, you're right.
All those guys play each other so damn hard. It's ridiculous sometimes. Where you're just like, guys. You're up by 20.
You can let off the gas now. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean,
yeah, Myles Garrett literally had the win, and he still hit Mason Rudolph with his helmet.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think it might be close.
It might be close. I just don't think that he'll break it. It's a tough. That's a tough. Think about how long ago Andrew Luck was a rookie.
Let me see.
You know, that was years ago.
Divided by 16 games, he needs 256 yards passing per game.
That's a tough sell, man. But I mean, if anyone can do it, Burrow can do it.
That's what I'm saying.
Give him that. Yeah. I wouldn't put money on Burrow doing it.
I agree. All
right. And then hold on, pull it up. Sorry, I let my screen go blank. So I have Saints over Buccaneers.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be a big game. That's probably the biggest game of the week. Yeah, of that week so far.
At New Orleans.
At New Orleans, Saints over Bucks. The only difference is no fans, so it's like how much does home field matter?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like I think Seattle, even though I think Seattle's already good enough, that 12th man isn't really going to be you're not going to have to worry about that beating you, because there are some games where that 12th man does beat you.
Yep.
In Seattle and in New Orleans. I'll say the same thing with the Chiefs. I think that happens with the Chiefs too.
Yep, I agree.
Next up, I got 49ers over Cardinals. Cowboys over Rams. That one was a little harder for me to pick, but I did pick the Cowboys. I think Dak starts off hot. Dak starts off throwing crazy. I think he's going to have fun in that Mike McCarthy offense. So definitely going to say the Cowboys over the Rams. Obviously Steelers over Giants. And my probably surprise pick of the week, besides the Bengals over Chargers, I went Broncos over Titans.
Wow, interesting.
I went Broncos over Titans because I don't believe in that defense over there, like especially the corners in Tennessee. And there's a lot. There's Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy is gonna be tough. I feel like they're locked in on Drew Lock. They like Drew Lock a lot. So I don't think like Broncos are gonna like be contending by any stretch of the imagination, but they are gonna have games like this. These are those gimme games that Titans, like teams like the Titans, teams like the Texans, teams like even I would say even teams like the Saints are guilty of this sometimes, of looking past an opponent and not really taking them seriously, and then you end up getting Drew Lock throwing you out of the building. But
yeah, I mean,
and also I'm worried about Derrick Henry not having any reps, man.
That's true too.
That's weird, you know.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I just feel like, you know, what you said is good on the offensive side, but on the defensive side, are they going to be able to stop Derrick Henry, even though he hasn't had any reps? I mean, we saw how much of a beast he was in the playoffs and how they rode that horse. So I don't know, man. I mean, they're right now they're a negative 1.5 point dog at home. Denver is. So that means that on a neutral field, because 3 points is what they give for the field, they'd be what, negative 1.5 point dog, I guess.
Yeah.
No, they do -3. My bad. So yeah, I don't know, man. I think they're gonna struggle.
All right. So I know you're going Texans over Chiefs, as we talked about.
Going Texans over Chiefs. I'm gonna.
So the next game was Bears and Lions.
Let me see where they're at. Bears and Lions. I'm taking the Bears.
The Bears.
The Bears.
All right, that makes sense. I think that defense is still top notch.
Yep, agreed.
It's easier to go through Bleacher Report for me. Let me see. That's where I get my the list, because they have them kind of a certain way. So you have, come on, where the fuck is the upcoming schedule? All right, hold on. Let me just read them up here.
Yep.
Over Lions. And then you have Ravens or Browns. I think I know where you're going to that one.
Yeah, I'm going Ravens on that one.
Ravens for sure. All right. Then you have Colts, Jags. I think I know where you're going with that one too.
Let me see. Where's that one at? Colts and Jags. Yeah, I'm going Colts.
Yeah, I just don't think that Jags team is going to really compete at all.
Nope.
I think they're waiting for Trevor. Yeah. Next, you got Pats and Dolphins.
I'm going Pats on this one.
Yeah, that's where I went too. I was tempted to go Dolphins, but I didn't, especially because they're not starting
Dude,
Tua.
Belichick has won with Matt Flynn and Jacoby Brissett, dude. So
yeah, definitely. Then you have Eagles and Washington football team.
I'm going Eagles.
Yeah. All right. So kind of the same so far. I know you're gonna throw a curveball out, or you're gonna go opposite of my curveball.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I am.
Yeah, I mean, Bills Jets.
I got Bills on that one.
Yeah, that's my sleeper team. I mean, that's my team to win the division. So I don't think any team's gonna have problems with the Jets. To be honest,
the Jets are struggling, dude. Still,
they're gonna be competing with the Jags for that number 1 pick. Vikings Packers. This one's tough.
I'm taking Packers on this one, man. I just got a little bit more faith in Aaron and the other Aaron that's in his backfield too.
I get it. I think I'm just thinking about that Vikings defense a little more.
Yeah, I agree.
Raiders, Panthers.
Raiders.
Yeah, I think the Raiders are going to have a sneaky, good season because they've been improving every year since under John Gruden, which everyone was like, John Gruden's ruining the Raiders, doing this and that, and then he almost gets a playoff bid last year.
Yeah, man, and he's been he's been stockpiling those picks too, man. So he's been kind of restocking those cupboards. So yeah, man, I'm going Raiders.
I actually think that they might be ahead of schedule than what the front office might have thought Gruden would be at. That's why he got that 10-year deal.
Yeah,
and they're like, oh damn, you're like 3 years ahead.
you shouldn't be competing till year 8.
Yeah. Next up, Seahawks Falcons. Thinking where to go.
Seahawks.
Yeah, that's actually my pick to probably win the division. No, I'm probably still gonna go 49ers actually.
Yeah, 49ers.
But it'll be 1-2, literally a game apart.
Well, it could just be, who has luck in their games. Who has the edge on that.
Yeah. Bengals Chargers. So you're going Chargers. Yeah, you're going Chargers on this one. I get it. A lot of people are believers in the Chargers. I guess I've just never really been believers in them, man. Especially that receiver core just always seems to be injured every year. Trust me, because I've had Mike Williams multiple times.
Well, he got injured
in fantasies.
He got injured 2 weeks ago on Hard Knocks. So
exactly. Because I think he could be one of the best in the league, man, Mike Williams. But goddamn, he just can't stay healthy.
Yeah, Keenan Allen though, man. Keenan Allen's only had 1 or 2 good years where he's healthy.
So you have Saints and Bucks. You gonna go opposite of me?
No, I'm gonna take the Saints as well, just because they're at home, and I really have to see how the Tampa Bay offense works with Brady and how Gronk is. People are saying Gronk is pre-injury Gronk because he had that time off, but I want to see it in real time before.
Yeah, I'm more worried about Brady just because he's got a lot of deep threats,
but he can't.
He hasn't been shown to be able to throw that deep ball as accurate as he used to be. When he was chucking up balls to Randy Moss, he was as accurate as ever, but he hasn't had that arm in forever.
Yeah, the last 3 years he hasn't been able to do that. Yeah,
so it's you got all these guys that go deep, but you don't have really the only really mid-range threat that he's got is Gronk, and if Gronk's not back healthy, then it doesn't matter.
Yep.
But I don't know. That's just me, though. That's just me and you, I guess. 49ers and Cardinals. Thinking of where to go on this one.
Taking 49ers.
Yeah. This is actually, even though I'm picking the 49ers in this one. Look out for the Cardinals this year. I think the Cardinals are going to have a really good year.
Yeah, they should have a good offense, man. They got Nuke. They got Kenyon Drake, who shown flashes last year for the second half when he got traded. And then their defense is good as well. I think people sleep on their defense because of Kyler Murray and that hype, and also Kingsbury. But I mean, I think they're a sleeper team as well. But I just think the 49ers are just solid all around.
Oh yeah, it's not even fair sometimes. Mm-hmm. All right, Cowboys Rams. Are you gonna go opposite of me on this one?
Yes, I am. I'm going Rams on this one.
I get it. Trust me, this one was probably the hardest one that I've had to pick, and I made some crazy picks.
I just feel like because Dak didn't get his contract, right?
No, he's got something to play for. He's on the franchise tag, or he's just mad. I don't know.
Or he's just mad, and he's like, whatever. I'm just gonna keep dinking and dunking, and then I'm gonna get out of here.
Yeah, maybe, man. I don't know, man. I'm interested to see CD too. I want to see how he fits in that offense. Yeah. Is he the 2 guy or is he going to be the slot guy? We don't know.
We'll see.
We don't know. All right, 2 more. Steelers over Giants, I'm assuming.
Yep, Steelers over Giants.
Yeah, Steelers are going to be competing for the first in that division again. Mike Tomlin is too good to not be. And then you're going Titans in the last one, right?
I'm going Titans, yeah.
Okay, we got a few differences, man. So that's the way it should be. I'm excited to see what we do, man. I'm so excited for football, dude. If you haven't noticed, I cannot wait for football.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting, man. Again, because
see how it goes.
Yeah, because we've seen NBA, the bubble, and that was a pretty good experiment. I think a lot of people liked a lot of different things. Mm-hmm. MLB, we've had some hiccups,
Yeah, we've had multiple Luckily, it hasn't happened to the Astros, but we've had multiple teams have outbreaks to the
Yeah.
point where we've had multiple games turn to doubleheaders because
Which and also, but I'm just talking about like at a macro level too. Like we've had on the fly rule changes in MLB to 7 inning doubleheaders
yeah,
because of COVID. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen in the NFL if they're going to make rule changes. If they're going to say, adding more spots to the roster, make that permanent, whatever. All these other things that are moving parts because it's different. It's a lot more people. It's 53 players on a team plus the practice squad, which is 16. It's just a lot different, man. So I'm very interested in the games themselves, but I'm also interested in that stuff too.
Yeah, me too. I think so far we've heard no outbreaks for Thursday's game. Everything seems good to go for Thursday's game against the Chiefs and the Texans. We do have. I know that Brandon Cooks not Brandon Cooks. Sorry, Will Fuller sat out of practice recently, as well as who was on the Chiefs? Was it Kelsey?
Travis Kelce?
Yeah, I think Kelsey sat out practice. So we'll see going forward tomorrow. Well, no, we really won't know until Thursday during the day what the final roster is going to look like. But also, I'll probably be flipping back and forth because the Rockets will be playing the Lakers in game 4. Unfortunately, this was a swing game. I believe it was like something along the lines of like 70% of teams that win game 3 and tied win the series. So we really got to bounce back, man. I think it looked like they gave up at the end of this game.
Well, I mean, a couple of things though. We got to see where Covington's at because he looks like he has a broken nose.
Yeah.
Also, House didn't play today, so
House didn't play.
Hopefully,
that's
he can
like
play.
The one good thing I would probably look at is like one of our perennial shooters lately wasn't out there, and it was a awesome. Very good game.
Yeah, he was awesome in game 2. Even though we lost that game, he was awesome. I thought he could have built off of that, but apparently he has some personal issues that he has to deal with.
Yeah.
He's a human being, so he needs to do what he needs to do. But hopefully he can come back for Thursday and be ready to play because now – and the thing about Covington, man, is he's such a good defender and he's such a good shooter. So hopefully,
his shots been going down with consistency lately.
Hopefully, come back with the mask. He could be the mask Covington, and we can see mask Covington go off for 50 points for breaking his nose.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how Skip turns this into it. Like I love Skip whenever the Rockets play the Lakers because he's a 100%. Like at that point, he's 100% a Rockets fan. I love it. It's fun
because he hates LeBron so much, dude.
Yeah, he hates LeBron. So he's like a Rockets fan through and through. He was like, I thought you were supposed to. He was like, the tiny Rockets, and you barely beat them. That was hilarious. All right, we're gonna go. Well, let's go ahead and call this a night, dude. We have big times coming up next week, man. So please make sure that you watch the UFC fights from this next upcoming weekend. And come back next Tuesday for our fight, our fight breakdowns, and much more. We'll even at the end of give our prediction results and give our predictions again. I want to kind of make that a weekly thing.
Agreed.
Because I know we talk about wrestling and UFC here, but I think football is probably my first passion. So we'll be talking about that a bit, especially with the return. Man, there's gonna be a lot of great games coming up soon. But all right, man, let's go ahead and sign off. Make sure you guys go to the Patreon if you want to support us. It's patreon.com/armbars and suplexes. And then in the description below, there is our Spotify link. Guys, go there and listen and share with whoever you think would enjoy this podcast. Even people you don't think would enjoy this podcast, maybe they hate listening to people talk about fights. Send it to them to make them angry.
And then, like Muay Thai.
Yeah, man, and subscribe, all that good stuff, man. Follow me on Twitter at AlecMiller0423. Jesus,
you can follow me at The Real Jesus, and that's spelled JEEZUS for all my hot takes. And just any conversation you guys want to have, man, that's where you guys can catch me at.
Yes, sir. And then that's it, guys. Thank you for joining us for who did. We had Matt and Caleb. We had Muay Thai as always, jumping in with his 2 cents. Love it. And Rosario Estrada, if you're listening on the replay, thank you for joining us. And we will see you guys next week, guys. Peace out.
AMF.